Do you ever feel like no matter what you do, you're on the outside looking in? Like the gay spaces you once turned to don't feel welcoming anymore, or maybe they never did. If you've been struggling with loneliness, especially as a gay man over 40, I get it. It's tough feeling invisible or like you don't belong in a gay society that's supposed to feel like home. But there is a way to find real connection again. And in this video, I'll share the 3 steps that have gotten me and countless other gay men out of the loneliness cycle. The first step, and this is not something you'll hear in the usual gay loneliness advice, the first step is what I call redefine your community. It seems like the entire gay community is obsessed with youth, clubbing, hookups, and the feeling that unless you fit a certain mold, you're somehow less worthy of connection. Too many people look at that mainstream gay scene and think this is all there is. But here's what took me years to realize. That's just one tiny slice of our community, if this can be called a community. It's like looking through a keyhole and thinking you're seeing the whole room. The truth is, there are so many gay men out there who are looking for the same things that you might be looking for too. And I'm not just saying this. Let me show you some of the hundreds of comments I've gotten on my recent videos. I found a partner not within the so-called gay culture, but well outside it, through normal social circumstances. We've now been together for 37 years. The gay dating scene lacks the get to know each other part. That doesn't work for people like me. And I'm so tired of the hookup culture. I've been wanting a genuine relationship. How do you find these people? First of all, just know that I share strategies and insights on finding meaningful connections in my weekly newsletter. It's completely free and you can join through the link in the description. Now, let me share something that might surprise you about finding like-minded people, because it starts with something deeper than just going to new places. It starts with all those toxic thoughts we tell ourselves about age and worth. You know the ones that I'm talking about, that the best years are behind you, or that you need to look a certain way to deserve connection, or that no one in the gay society is looking for a real connection and love. These thoughts feel real, and of course they do. They're the messages we've been fed over and over. But as you've just seen from all those comments, these thoughts are not the whole truth, and it's time to challenge them. So take a moment to think about what real connection actually means to you. Is it having someone by your side for life's big moments, or finding a partner who cares more about who you are than what you look like? Maybe it's having friends you can have real conversations with beyond gossip, or being part of a group where people actually value your life experience instead of dismissing it. When you get clear on what genuine connection means to you, something powerful happens. You stop trying to fit into spaces that were never meant for you in the first place. You start recognizing opportunities you might have missed before because you're no longer distracted by that voice telling you you're not young enough or fit enough or not measuring up in any way. When I finally gave myself permission to step back from spaces that didn't feel right, something unexpected happened. I started finding other gay men who felt the same way. Successful, interesting people who were also looking for more than just another night out. They were in book clubs, professional networks, hobby groups, places I'd never thought to look before. And you've seen the comments yourself. These people exist. And they're not just a few rare exceptions. There's a whole world of gay men out there beyond the mainstream scene. And you deserve to be part of it. I know this because they're out there right now looking for someone just like you. Now that you've started to see the bigger picture of what your own gay community can be, let's talk about step number 2. And this is where most people get stuck. You need to actually decide that building connections is a priority in your life. And I mean, really decide, not just saying, yeah, it would be nice to meet people. I get it. Most of us are busy with our work or other things that are going on in our lives. And maybe you've been hurt before, or you're tired of putting yourself out there only to face rejection. It's easier to tell yourself you're too busy or that it'll happen naturally someday. But here's the truth I had to face myself. Nothing changes until you make connection a non-negotiable part of your life, just like you do with work, just like you do with other commitments. This means actually booking time in your calendar for social activities, both online and in person, if you can. Now, I know what some are thinking. Easier said than done. So, let's talk about what really holds us back. If it's fear of rejection, well, that's a normal human fear, especially when we've faced it in gay spaces before. But remember what we talked about in step 1. When you're connecting with the right people in the right spaces, rejection becomes much less common than you might expect. Now, if it's past hurts, those are real and they matter. But ask yourself, are you protecting yourself, or are you just making sure you'll stay lonely? Sometimes what feels like self-protection is actually self-isolation. And if you're telling yourself you're too busy, I want you to think about something. We make time for what we truly prioritize. If you had a work emergency, you'd make time to handle it. If you had a serious health issue, you'd make time to go to the hospital. Loneliness is just as important to address as physical health, maybe even more so. So here's what this looks like in practice. You can start small. Commit to one social activity each week. Put it in your calendar and treat it like any other important appointment. If you can commit to 2 activities, that's even better. And that brings us to step number 3. It's time to find and join activities you actually enjoy. Notice I said activities you enjoy, not just any gay meetup or group that you happen to hear about. Here's what most people get wrong. They think they need to force themselves into typical gay spaces. But remember what we talked about in step 1. We're redefining what community means to us. And in step 2, we committed to making this a priority. So where do you actually find these connections? Start with what interests you. Love photography? Join a local photography group. Enjoy reading? Find a book club. Want to make a difference? Volunteering is a great way to meet caring people who are community-minded. The key is to choose activities where you can meet people naturally through shared interests. One of the best moves I ever made socially was volunteering at an LGBTQ helpline. During the training period, I met a small group of thoughtful, caring people who were there to make a difference. People who actually wanted to connect and help others. That experience opened my eyes to a whole different side of our community. But don't just stick to gay groups. Some of the best connections happen when you join groups simply because you love what they do. 2 things happen when you do this. First, you meet people who share your passions, which instantly gives you something meaningful to connect over. And second, you'll often find other gay men there too. Men who, like you, are looking for more authentic connection. The important thing is consistency. Don't just show up once and give up. Give yourself at least 3 months in any new group or activity. Real connections take time to develop, and people need to see you regularly to start forming bonds. Remember what we talked about in the previous steps. You're not just looking for any connection. You're looking for meaningful ones. When you follow your genuine passions and interests, you're much more likely to find people who align with your values and what you want in life. If you found this helpful, be sure to hit the like button and subscribe to this channel for more insights on navigating life as a gay man. Love you all.